பிரவீன் சார் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிடலாமா?
எஸ் மேம்.
இருங்க, கொஞ்சம் அட்டெண்டீஸ் வரட்டும். 1 தான் கனெக்ட் ஆயிருக்காங்க. கொஞ்சம் நம்பர்ஸ் பாத்துக்குங்க, பார்த்துட்டு ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிடுங்க.
ஓகே மேம்.
5 மெம்பர்ஸ் தான் கனெக்ட் ஆயிருக்காங்க. கொஞ்சம் வந்துடட்டும். கவுண்ட் வந்ததுக்கு அப்புறம் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிக்கலாம்.
ஓகே மேம்.
மேடம் யாரோட மைக் ஏதோ ஆன்ல இருக்குன்னு நினைக்கிறேன்.
இதான் பாரு இது ஒரே நிமிஷம் பில் கொஞ்சம் ஒரு நிமிஷம் முடிச்சிடுவா. எழுதி
சார் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிடலாமா? 175 ரெஜிஸ்டர் பண்ணி 12 தான் ஜாயின் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. சின்னதுரை சார்.
மேடம் அவங்க ரிமைண்டர் அனுப்பிச்சிட்டு பாருங்க மேடம். மெயில்ல
ரிமைண்டர் சார் அனுப்பிட்டாங்க சார். எனக்கே ரெஜிஸ்டர் பண்ணியிருக்கேன். எனக்கே வந்திருக்கு. 10 மினிட்ஸ் முன்னாடி வந்துச்சு.
ஓ சரி மேடம். ஓகே ஓகே.
பிரவீன் சார்.
எஸ் மேம்.
சார் போயிட்டாங்க போல. இன்னொருத்தங்க யாரோ வந்திருக்காங்க.
சார் இருந்தாங்க மேம் நினைக்கிறேன்.
சார் இல்லப்பா, சார்னா போட்டோ.
मुरली सर
பிரவீன் சார், சின்னதுரை சார் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிடலாமா சார்? சார் சார்
மேம் ஐ அம் இன் லைன் மேம். ஸ்டார்ட் கேளுங்க மேம். ஸ்டார்ட்.
சார் வேற வெயிட் பண்ணுங்க. பிரவீன் சார் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிடுங்க சார்.
ஓகே மேம். சார் வந்துட்டாங்களா மேம் லைன்ல?
இருக்காங்க.
ஓகே மேம். A very good morning to everyone present here. So on behalf of Computer Science and Engineering Department of EGS Play Engineering College Nagapattinam, we welcome you all to this workshop on tools for research and how to write a paper. So this is the second program we are conducting for the academic year 2021 to 2022. So on this wonderful occasion, I would like to call upon our respected HOD sir and the COE Dr. M. Chinnadurai sir to welcome the gathering. Please sir. Sir.
Yes.
Sir. Sir.
Yeah. Start, madam.
Yeah, he has started, sir. You can welcome the gathering, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, very good morning to all. Then I welcome on behalf of CSE department. First, I welcome our honorable principal, sir. Then faculty members of our department as well as other departments. Then other college participants and my dear students. Once again, I welcome you all. I personally invite and also welcome the honorable guest of today's workshop. Then tools for research. It's going to delivered by Dr. B. Surendran sir, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, National Institute of Technology, Puducherry. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and I think this is a very, very important. Everybody should know in future based on the research activities. This is the most important, and everybody should learn then how the tools are utilized for research activities and other things. Yeah, thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Once again, I welcome you all for this today workshop. Then now I hand over to Dr. B. Surendran sir. Please, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So this is Surendran from NIT Puducherry. So today I will be discussing about various tools that will be helpful for your research. And,
sir, excuse me, sir.
Yes, madam.
Excuse me, sir. We want to introduce ourselves, you, sir. We want to introduce you to the gathering, sir.
I have to introduce, madam.
Yes, sir. I will introduce you, sir.
Okay, madam. You introduce me.
To introduce our distinguished chief guest and eminent resource person of this workshop on tools for research and how to write a paper, Dr. B. Surendran sir, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, National Institute of Technology, Puducherry, Karaikal. He completed his MTech in VIT University. He has completed his PhD in National Institute of Technology, Trichy. He has been working as Assistant Professor in Computer Science and Engineering Department of NIT Puducherry, Karaikal from the year of 2014 onwards. He is having more than 40 publications in the reputed journals like SCI, Web of Science, and Scopus. He has reviewed more than 350 papers. He has received Global Peer Reviewer Award and recognized as guest lectures, has been the resource person for various workshops conducted by the various institutions in this pandemic period. We are very proud and very much thankful to him because in spite of his busy schedule, he has accepted our invitation for being the resource person for this workshop. Thank you, sir. We are very much eager to attend this workshop, sir. I hope our participants surely will get benefited through this workshop. Thanks for the great opportunity given to me for to introduce our chief guest. Thank you all. Now I hand over the session to Dr. B. Surendran sir. Please, sir.
Madam. Thank you, madam. So today, myself, Dr. B. Surendran from NIT Puducherry. So I'll be talking about various tools for research. Some of the tools we may not be aware of it. Some are very useful not only for research but for academic as well as research. So today's content, it is document writing tools, searching files and contents, playlist checker tools, image processing tools, data mining and data visualization and other tools. So when we do a research or writing a paper, so most of the time we spend a lot of time in doing a lot of works repeatedly. Like we'll download some papers and we'll keep it in some folder and later we search for that paper. And also literature review and everything. When we may read so many papers, but when we write a paper, we may forget what points to write in that particular from that review papers because we are read long back. And we may need to, we forgot to note down the important points. So for that, we have several annotations and several tools are there. So that will help us to reduce the workload. And any research work, we need the support of machine learning or data mining tools or various tools are required for your research to be get completed. So without support of any of these tools, your research cannot be done easily or perfectly. So document writing tools, mostly we write the papers using only LaTeX or MS Word. But if you see most of the authors, foreign authors, they started using various tools like Monday Desktop and other tools. So today's session I will be giving some demonstration using most of these tools. It is I prefer using Monday Desktop. There are other tools that have similar functionality like Zotara, Scanner, and Note. These are the various we call this reference managers. These tools are called as reference managers. So these tools, what they provide the supporters, it provides. I mean, if you can take the literature review papers and you can take the notes, annotations, and wherever you want, you can highlight important points and all those things. And also, it will also search the contents inside the paper. So it will be easy for you to write the literature review and other parts of your paper. And here, Monday Desktop, it is a free to use, and here we have various functionalities like organizing PDF articles. That is, you can add various PDF papers and all those things, and including annotations and highlight important points. You can highlight important points. And here, organizing PDF articles means all of the literature papers you want to use it. So you can add it here, add into the Monday Desktop, and you can start using it. It will what after adding the PDF papers in this Monday Desktop. 1 minute. Yeah. So most of the whatever PDF articles we added here, it supports various functionalities like you can automatically extract the metadata from the PDF papers. That is, what the metadata means, like the author name, title of the paper, and other keywords and everything, journal names and everything will be extracted. And so that's called as the metadata from the PDF papers. And inserting citations and bibliographies in the word processor. So that is in the MS Word, we'll be spending time with writing the citations or the literature review part. So and also bibliographies is the reference part. So in the literature review, when we write the paper, we will be inserting citations. Madam, somebody's mic is on. Hello.
Yes, sir. I'll tell, sir.
So here, when we insert citations and bibliographies, so when we start writing a paper, let us say we start writing with IEEE format, later we submit to the Elsevier or Springer format or some other journal different format. What happens here is we spend most of the time in changing the format from one format to another format. That will take a lot of time, especially the citations and references. It will take more time. So to avoid that, these tools will provide you a function with a single click. You can change it from one format to another format, like IEEE to Springer or Elsevier. It will change. Madam, a lot of noise is there. Yeah. Yeah. So here what happens when with a single click, you can change it from one format to another format. Maybe from item format to Elsevier and all those things. It will change both the citations in the literature part as well as the references. The references part will be having the references. So those things, everything will be automatic. Yeah. Sorry, it was mic was off. Yeah. So here you can change it from one format to another style. That is called as a style here. IEEE to Springer or Elsevier and all those things. We can change it with a single click, and you can also do full text search and across the papers. That is, you can do not only the file name and all those things, the full text inside the PDF papers, you can do the search. It will be helpful for writing the literature review or writing the thesis or writing the paper. And it has smart filtering capabilities like smart filtering, tagging, automatic PDF file renaming, and everything will be available. That means that you can filter the papers based on the author, based on the journal, or based on the the type keywords used in the paper, or you can also specify your own tags, and those are the functionalities where you can filter the papers. So it will be easy to identify the required papers or required relevant papers. And also you can collaborate with other researchers. You can share the papers with other researchers, and you can also discover new articles in your area of research directly from the Mendeley desktop. So, and also it will be stored in the cloud repository. That means that so all the files, whatever the PDF papers you added in the Mendeley desktop, it will be available in the cloud repository. So you can use it in the college as well as in the laptop or anywhere you can use it, because everything is stored in the cloud. You can use it using a web-based app, using the browser. You can access the Mendeley desktop, or you can install the Mendeley desktop software in your system, and you can access all these whatever papers you added into the Mendeley desktop. And searching the files and contents. So usually what happens is not only for research, for our academic day-to-day activities, we'll write so many papers, we'll store the question papers or the documents, tutorials and everything in a separate folder, several places. Later what happens is we spend the time searching for that file. So to avoid that, you can use these Hello, madam, voice கேக்குதுங்களா? நடுவுல மைக் மியூட் ஆயிருக்கு. Okay, so search everything, and this is one of the most used. I have been using it for more than 5 years. So with this tool, you can search for any files within a fraction of a second. It will index all the files in your system, and it will be able to what is it? You can search for any files, any document or any folder, anything within a fraction of a few seconds, and it is faster than Windows search. And you can use any one of these tools like Locate32 or Lookan or Search Everything. I have been using Search Everything for several years. I'll show you a demonstration using Search Everything tool. And there is another types of tools called as desktop search. So desktop search is nothing but similar to so here desktop search is another types of tool that is which I have been used during my research in 2010-11. So what happens is at that time we don't have Mendeley desktop or the remaining tools. So desktop search has more functionality compared with Mendeley desktop and other tools. One of the famous companies called Copernic desktop search. So this is what I have used. There is also Windows desktop search, Google desktop search is there, but it is not that much functionality. They stopped their development as of now. But still, you can use Google desktop search, Windows desktop search. But I have used Copernic desktop search. What functionality it provides here is you can create like a search engine for your laptop or a system. So it will index all the files in a system, including images, videos, HTML files, Excel, Word, document, text, zip files. So each and every file it will index. So HTML files, text files, XLS. So all these files it will index the contents also. So remaining some of the videos and all those things it will index the properties as well as the file name alone. So it provides like a search engine for your that is and also you can search the contents, not only the file name, you can search inside the contents of the file. All those things can be done using desktop search. It will be very useful. If you want, you can use Copernic desktop search. So in Copernic desktop search till version 3.6 it is free to use, full functionalities available, but the current version, latest version will provide only the right version is available for personal use. It made as a commercial one, so you can, if you want, you can use the old version or you can use the light version. And mostly will be when we download or submit the papers, so we have to check for plagiarisms. So what happens is here is we have Viper and Turnitin or the commercial tools. But what happens is these tools are not available for each and every. Everyone cannot have access. And nowadays we have a Drillbit is another types of website which came up similar to Authenticate or Turnitin. They provide you 1 month trial access. Maybe if you want, your college can get the trial access from the Drillbit. And there are several tools online where you can check the plagiarism. Except Turnitin and Viper, remaining are free to check, but it has a limited functionality. Like you can check only 10 pages, not 10 pages, maybe 3 pages like that. You have to copy paste it. You cannot check the full paper. So that is under the plagiarism checker. And most of the nowadays people are working with images or medical images and all those things. So you can use MATLAB, OpenCV or Python. Nowadays people are using mostly Python. And still what I've seen is MATLAB provides a little bit faster compared to Python. So if you want to work on deep learning algorithms and all those things, you can use MATLAB. And OpenCV also provides a lot of functionalities, a lot of libraries are there with the OpenCV, especially for real-time video and image processing techniques and all those things. And for DICOM, so we have DICOM is there, is specific for medical images. It's a standard for medical images. And there are other tools for image processing, that is IDL, Chorus, and these tools, which is not as famous as the remaining tools. But still, if you want, you can explore that. But you can fix with any one tool for your research. Either you can fix it with MATLAB or OpenCV or programming with Python. And for data mining, for working with the data mining algorithms, machine learning algorithms like classification, clustering, associative mining, and all those things, you can use only one of these tools, that is RapidMiner, Vika, or SPSS, Orange, Time, or Python. And among this, SPSS is a commercial one, and R is most used in the industry. Almost 80% of the industry they use R programming. So if you want, you can use Vika also. It's very easy to use, using very simple to use it, Vika Explorer. And another thing, important thing I would like to share here is the flowchart diagram tools. So mostly we'll be using MS Word or Microsoft Excel to draw the charts and all those things, graphs and all those things. Hello, madam. I think I got disconnected in between.
No problem, sir. You can continue, sir.
Yeah.
Sir? Can you hear me?
Yes, madam.
No problem, sir. You can continue,
Yeah,
sir.
which slide I was disconnected, madam? From this slide, madam, or which slide?
Previous slide, sir.
This one, data mining tools.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, madam. Okay. So, so data mining tools, we can use any of these tools. That is SPSS or R programming or Vika, Rapid Miner, and all those tools. Nowadays people are using with Python, but if you are not good in Python, you can use Vika tool or Rapid Miner. And most of the industry people that are using R programming, almost 80% of the industry they use R programming. And if you're new to data mining and all those things, clustering, classification, you can start using with Vika. It is very easy to use. And flowchart diagram tools, if you take people are using MS Word or Excel. But if you see professional diagrams, they use Visio SmartDraw. These are all not free tools, but you can get a trial versions and you can access the functionalities. And nowadays, a lot of tools websites are there where you can use it for free. Online based flowchart diagram tools are there, which provides a lot of different types of graphs and all those things. And it will be very nowadays it's getting very famous. Online based tools, you can start using them. And these are some of the samples from SmartDraw. So you can see here for radiation therapy and all those things. You can see for DNA and all those things, they use realistic pictures. So that provides a better representation about your proposed model and all those things. It will give a very good, better representation. And similarly, provides you for knee joint, that is for medical field, it provides you some templates. And these are the other templates which is available. See here, you can see here the light bottom. It provides you the number of firearm deaths, the number of people died using firearm deaths, number of people deaths based on several years. You can see here instead of using a normal bar graphs, they used human images as a part of the graph. So this many different types of templates are available in SmartDraw. And here there is another type of sample from the SmartDraw. It provides you a lot of templates, not only for computer science, for ECE, EEE, mechanical, even for civil students, civil faculties, that you can use floor planning and everything. So right side you can see here it is onion diagram. So it provides you a different template, like it's called as onion diagram, where you can use it for the proposed model. And here it is based on the world population, China and India here. So here you can see based on the value, amount of value. So you can see the size of the human image, it varies. So this is a different way of representing the same information in a better way. And this is another template is available, that is a flow diagram. So A, B, C, D, E are different levels in the flow diagram. So you can use this one, it's a template, and you can use it to edit it, and it looks better than normal flowcharts. And but SmartDraw is not a free one. It is but you can get a 1-month trial access. You can get the functionalities. And data visualization tools, there are other tools which you can use it. So because instead of trying with common charts, try to represent them using different charts like blocks plot, which is used in a stock market and all those things. So try to find the scatter or the relationship between two features. So if you have several features in the data set, you can relate not only the feature with the class variable, you can also compare with the different two features relationship between two features. So that way you will be getting a better representation. These are the various tools is available for data visualization purpose, and you can use any one of these tools. And the next thing is a heat maps. It is called confusion matrix. So mostly when we use when we do classification, so we will have two classes. Usually we will be having two classes like 0 or 1 or a true and false or cancel normal. So you let me use a pen here. So usually you'll have a 0 or 1 or normal or cancel. So normal or cancel. These are two classes we'll be usually will be having it. But here in this example, I have taken a 12 classes. These are the 12 classes. So in the x-axis and y-axis. So here in the confusion matrix, the diagonal elements give the actually correctly classified instances. That is number of correctly classified instances. This is the diagonal element. Okay. So remaining things are misclassified. How many of n is correctly classified as n here? So that is 67.8. That is how many are correctly classified. So this is the correctly classified instances, diagonal elements. Remaining are misclassifications. So usually what we do is we write using only a table. So nowadays people are using heat maps. So it not only can be done only with the confusion matrix. For any data you have it in your tables or anything, you can represent them using heat maps. So generating a heat map is not a difficult task. Using Python, they provide you heat maps and all those things. But with Microsoft Excel, you can create a heat map. I'll show you a demonstration using a heat map. How to do it with the Microsoft Excel. And for research papers, so people will be using Google Scholar. And nowadays, what we do is people are using ResearchGate. So it's the most used one nowadays. It's very, very useful for not only for downloading the papers, it also helpful for your research, because a lot of question and answers are there nowadays. Is getting very famous. It also recommend new papers by various authors, and also you can request the papers if you don't have access to IEEE or elsewhere. You can access the papers through ResearchGate. The authors will be sending you the private copy. So Academy also is a similar one, which is also good, but is not as famous as ResearchGate. And LibGen, it's not a authenticate website, because people, it's like a privacy website, but people are using it to download the papers. But I recommend not to use that. You can try using ResearchGate or Google Scholar, or you can send an email to author. If you don't have access, you can ask them to get the download of the papers. So these are the various ways you can download the papers. And if you are a researcher, so you should have a profile in all these pages. That is all these websites. That is first thing I like to say, it is Orchid ID. So Orchid ID nowadays people are asking everywhere Orchid ID. That is, you can create, you can sign it using your Gmail ID, email ID, or Facebook, or any of your login. You can use it to get the Orchid ID. Or if you have published the papers, you will be having Orchid ID. You can check it in Orchid to get your Orchid ID. So not only for paper submission, nowadays they're asking for, even for reviewers, they're asking the Orchid ID. So another thing is Google Scholar. People are mostly using it, Google Scholar. And for ResearchGate, previously it was, you can access it using your Gmail itself. But nowadays it is asking official mail ID. If you don't have a specific official mail ID, you can, if anybody is having a existing ResearchGate profile, they can invite the other members, either in the Gmail. Your Gmail ID also can be added. So that way you can create a ResearchGate profile. And also you can also create academia.edu. And in all these places, if you have existing publications, add all these publications in all these profiles. So it will give you more visibility of your papers to other researchers. It will increase the number of citations. So if the citations are more, then you will get a more high H index and line index. And researcher ID is by Web of Science. So researcher ID is another one, which is previously it was called as a researcher ID. Now it was merged with Poblons.com. That is, it is by Clarotech Analytics company. That is who manages Web of Science and the essay journals and all those things. So now it is called as a Poblons.com. So Poblons.com provides not only profile for research papers, it will also add the reviews. So what are the reviews you have done and all those things, it will be added there in the Poblons.com. So it will be a very useful one. And also, if you want to review papers for various journals, you can search for the journals and you can request for acting as a reviewer. And Scopus is another profile where you can create your profile. But you cannot add in the new papers, but you can check what are the papers in your Scopus access. And Microsoft Academic, it is not Microsoft Academia. So this is another important one which website which I like to share here, because people are not aware of it. It is similar to Google Scholar, but it has more functionality. So what happens is when we search for a paper in a journal, I mean when we search for a paper, so what happens is we mostly they ask for journal papers. When you write a paper, people tend to use more conference papers. But what happens is when you submit a paper, the editor board or they check for whether we have the more journal papers are cited or not. Even the reviewers they check whether you have whether you cited more journals or not. So and also when we search for a journal, so what happens is we may submit a journal which says that your paper is out of scope, because we may not be submitting to a relevant journal. So to avoid that, the Microsoft Academic provides a lot of functionalities. That is, you can filter based on the journals or conferences. So which papers you want to see, those papers, also book chapters and all those things you can filter like that. And also it provides a functionality to filter based on the author name. So you can also filter it based on the top authors. Maybe some authors who will be working on a particular area. So you can filter it based on the top authors. So that way you will get a specific papers, and also you can learn how the authors are they started working, the researchers started working in a particular area, and how they came to the current research area. I mean, how they progressed. So those things you can check it if you follow a particular author. And also it also shows a list of top journals. So these are the various options which you can filter it in Microsoft Academic. This is called Microsoft Academia. Now it is called academic.microsoft.com. So you can filter it by year. So based on a particular range of years, you can filter the results. Similar functionality is there in Google Scholar also, but remaining functionalities are not there in Google Scholar. So you can also filter the top topics. It lists the top topics relevant to particular research query. Let us say you are searching for brain tumor. It will show relevant topics like diagnosis, classification, CNN. So like that, it will show the relevant topics related to the query topic. So that what happens is when we do research, we focus only one set of keywords. So that leads to poor what you say searching a less number of what you say we'll be focusing only a few keywords, but we will not be able to get relevant new papers in the same area, because your keywords what you search is not relevant or not exhaustive. You will be only focusing on only one area. Madam, is it audible? I think somebody sent this is a previous message.
Yeah, it's previous
okay,
message, sir. You're audible, sir. No problem.
So another thing is you can filter it by publication types. That is, you can filter it like whether it is a journal or a conference. Like that you can filter it. And also you will get the top authors. That is top authors in that area. That will be helpful for your research. You have to follow a particular author. Then you will be getting the detail. I mean, you're getting a better understanding about the research area. Another thing is top journals. So that is a very, very important one, because it will helpful for you to submit a paper to a relevant journal, because most of the journals they say it out of scope like that. So in this case, Microsoft Academic will list top relevant journals, and I think the top institutions working on that research area, and top conferences relevant to your topic, research topic. And also it also gives a top subject headings or relevant keywords related to your research area. So these are the various ways you can filter the search results. It's very helpful for your research in identifying journals or particular author papers or more relevant keywords also you can find it easily. And one another thing I like to share here is Google search, because most of the time what we do is we spend time in doing the searching in the net for finding the relevant paper. Not only for research, for our academic also, when you search for a PPT or PDF, it shows not only the PDF, PPT files, websites, it will show normal slide share and other tutorial websites also it will show where PPT is not available. So I'll show you some tips how to get the relevant results. So in this case, you can get the advanced search techniques in the Google, in the net. You can get a Google Advanced Search. You'll get a lot of PDF materials are there which describes about all these techniques. So there are so many other shortcuts are there, but these are the things I have been using frequently for several years. So when you search for a neural network, it gives 10 crore 70 lakhs results. But when we use a network neural, so it shows 29 crore 20 lakhs, because that is how the Google searches. It will keep the first keyword as a main, second keyword will be kept as optional, or like that it will use for combinations of the keywords. And if you use a double quotes, you will get a very relevant results. And you can also use and symbol, and also you can use a minus symbol if you don't want a particular keyword to be in the search results. For example, if you want to search for nanotechnology, so if you search for nano in Google, so you will get a nano car also in the search results, but that is not relevant to your topic. So you can say nano minus car, so that it will not show any information related to the car. So it will show the other relevant information related to the nanotechnology or relevant information. So another thing is important thing I like to share here is a file type. So people are not aware of it, but it will be very helpful for your not only for research, also for the your academic also. So here file type PPT. So here you can use this keyword along with this search results. So it will give you the only PPT files. So I'll show you here. So if you search for neural network applications PPT, it will show 12 crore 20 lakhs results. But if you use neural network applications file type PPT, it will show only 2,960 results with only PPT files. So it will not show PDF or any other websites without like SlideShare and all those things. It will not show anything. So nowadays, since you are using online classes, you may use online material, PPT materials. So for that, you can use a file type PPT as an optional, and you will get a relevant results. Not only for research, for academic, it will be useful. And there is another keyword called site colon. So you want to search for some details in the Anna University website, but if you do Google search, it will show not only from Anna University website, from other websites also. But you can use the site annauniversity.edu, then it will show only from the Anna University website or AICT website. You want to search only in the AICT website. So this is another shortcut which will be most used one. So before going into research paper writing, I'll show the demonstrations, then I'll go into the research paper writing. So I'll stop presenting and again I'll share the presentation. Yeah. Okay, so I'll be showing the some websites, whatever I discussed. That is a Publons, what is it, academic, and all those things. Just a minute. Yeah. So Poblons.com, this is what I said on our website. It is maintained by Clevertech Analytics company, that is Web of Science. So here you can log in using your Gmail ID. It is by Web of Science. So this is I'll show you the public profile. So here you can add not only your papers, your published papers, you can also add the number of papers you are reviewed, all those things. So it shows 43 publications, 59 times cited in the, it is cited in the Web of Science. And this is a number of verified reviews. So these reviews doesn't contain some of the confidence reviews because I couldn't able to add it in the Web of Science. Here you can see here it shows what are the relevant research fields your papers you have done, and what are the cited publications, most cited publications, about my publications, and what are the peer review summary. So let me zoom in a little bit. Yeah. So you can see here number of papers in IET image processing. It shows 31 papers I have reviewed. In the bracket it shows that number of papers I have reviewed for that journal. Similarly for IEEE Sensors, 24 papers are being reviewed like that. It will show. And you can also search for some journals, and you can also request them to act as a reviewer. So you can search here in the top, you can search for the journals and any journals, and you can act as a reviewer. So this way you can request them the journals to act as a reviewer. Okay, so let me show other metrics. So metrics is a next field which shows the number of publications, number of papers, number of times it is cited, and all those things. So in each year, how many papers have been published, like that, it will show everything. And this is the number of reviews. You can see in each year how many reviews have been done. Like that, it will show all this information. So that's all about the Poblons. And here, if you want to add your existing reviews, you can send a mail to reviews@poblons.com. So that way you can add your existing reviews in the Poblons profile. And next I'll show you Microsoft Academic. You can also create a profile here in Microsoft Academic, and you can add your papers and all those things. So it's a Microsoft Academic page is shown here. So here you can search for a topic. Let us search for brain tumor. Yeah. So you can see the top topics 11 to this keyword is medicine, biology, cancer research, cell structure. It may be relevant to even for medical field. Let us filter it. Brain tumor classification. Yeah. So here you can see AI, computer science, pattern recognition, tumor classification, feature extraction, classifier, contextual image classification. There are so many relevant keywords, top topics relevant to this brain tumor. So image segmentation, artificial neural networks. So it shows you can have more keywords. So these are the relevant keywords used by various authors. And also you can also see what are the keywords. MRI, these are the various keywords. You can also click here, you can show, it will show us what are the relevant keywords on particular topic. So it shows so many relevant keywords here. So like this, you will get a more list of keywords, and you can use that keywords for filtering in a better way. You can search for more papers. So in the left side, you can see here. Let me close this. English. Okay. Yeah. In the left side, you can see we are seeing the top topics here. So here you can see the top topics, and it shows publication types. That is, whether you want to see journal publications, conference, or repository, or book chapters, like that. You can filter because most of the papers they need is journals. They check whether you are added to journal publications. So you can filter it based on journal publications. And the top authors in that area, that is, these are the various authors working on brain tumor classification. So you can check their papers, and you can read their papers. So this shows these are the most top authors in that area, and top journals which are accepted papers on this area. These are the various journals which are accepted. So this way you can also click here more, so that you will get a more journals details here. So this way you can get the relevant journals for your research topic. And these are top institution which works on this research area, and these are the various conferences on the research area. And the next I said relevant descriptors, keywords. So these are all the relevant keywords related to brain tumor classification. So you can use these keywords. You'll get a more, click on more, you'll get a more keywords and all those things. And next qualifiers, these are the ones which is used by the various authors, and these are the papers. So this way you will get the more relevant journals and other papers, very useful for your research. And next I like to share search everything. I'll share my entire screen. Yeah, I said about search everything. So that is, you can search it in the Google. You will be getting it. The first one, search everything. It will show the website. It's a voidtools.com. So it is where you will get this everything. Or if you search for everything, it will show the void tools. So it's a small size file. It is only 3 MB or 4 MB file. It is very useful one. I'll show you the search everything. So everything, it is the tool name. So let me open this. So now it is indexed. You can see in the bottom, it shows it is indexing, updating a database. Yeah, so let me search for some PPT or any PDF. Let us say brain tumor. So you can see here. So these are the papers and folders is available, PDF and all those things. So within a fraction of a second, I am able to get the details from my system. So let me use magnifier. Yeah. So here you can see I used a brain tumor. It shows all the papers and folders with the brain tumor keyword. And let me search for DBMS PPT. Yeah, so DBMS PPT, it shows the files in my system on DBMS, and also you can filter any files, document. If you want, you can specify .ppt. It will show only PPT files. Like that, you can filter it lot of information. So if you say DBMS, it will shows the question papers and all my Word documents and all Excel sheets and all those things. You can in the search option, you have everything, audio, compressed, document, like that. So if you want to search only on compressed files, zip files, you can use compressed option here. Or you want to search only on video, any video files you want to search, you can click on video here. If you want to search only on documents, you can use the documents option here, or you want to search only on folder, you can use folder here, or if you want to search all the files, folders and everything, you can use everything option here. And also it has a lot of additional searching capabilities, match, case match, all the regular expressions and all those things. But if you want, you can use it. Otherwise, this simple one, I mean the basic one, is very useful. And also you can sort it by size also. You can sort the files based on size. It will immediately sort and you give the results. So it's a very useful one. So let me close this and I'll show you. Let me close the magnifier. Yeah. So another thing I like to share here is Excel. So I said I'll be showing the using Excel. What do you say? Heat map. So let me open the Excel. I'll show you heat map. Yeah, this is a heat map example. So here I have 4 classes, that is ABCD are the 4 classes, and I want to classify them as I have 1000 data, that is 1000 samples are there in my system. So each class contains 250, that is class A, class B, class C, and class D. Usually we have 2 classes, means normal or cancer, true or false, or 0 or 1. There are 2 classes. In this example, I have taken 4 classes. So ABCD are the 4 classes. In each class, we have 250 samples or instances, and totally we have 1000 instances, 1000 samples are there. Now, after classification, so this is the actual category, that is ABCD, and what is the actual predictor, that is ABCD here. So among 250, so only 140 is predicted correctly. So A and A, this is a dynamic element. It is among 250, correctly A is classified as A is 140. Similarly, B among 250, correctly classified as 180. So B is classified as among 250, only 180 is correctly classified. Similarly, for C among 250, only 140 is correctly classified. In case of D, among 250, 240 are correctly classified. So the diagonal elements will give the correctly classified instances. The remaining are misclassification. Then how to create a heat map here is you select the region. So go to conditional formatting and color scales. So what to do is you have to select the whichever content you want to make it as a heat map. Go to conditional formatting, color scale. Hello.
Sir, now only you have connected, sir.
No, when
Suddenly-
when it was disconnected, madam?
Confusion matrix, sir.
Okay, madam.
Okay,
Suddenly
sir.
it was disconnected.
Heat map, like that you said, no, that, and that time it was disconnected, sir.
Okay. So confusion matrix. So here we use a heat map here. Usually we have only two classes, that is cancer or normal, like that. So here in this example I have taken 4 classes. So here A, B, C, D are the 4 classes. And in each class we have 250 instances. Totally we have 1000 instances. So totally 1000 instances are for each class A, B, C, D we have 250. So we are going to predict how many are correctly classified. So among this, so here you can see A is correctly classified as 140, B is correctly classified as 180 out of 250, C is correctly classified as 140 out of 250, and D is correctly classified as 240 out of 250. Now we can create a heat map here. So remaining are misclassification. Remaining are correctly classified. Remaining are misclassification. So we go to conditional formatting, color scales, and you can use any color scales that will give you the different color scale options. So this is how we generate the heat map. So you can use the heat map for any data, not only for confusion matrix. You can use it for any data. So here, what I did was I selected the region, go to conditional formatting, and have color scales, and you can choose any color scales to generate the heat map. So this is one of a very useful application. Instead of normally writing with only tables and all those things, nowadays people are using heat maps to represent not only for confusion matrix, but other information also they are using the confusion matrix. So let me close this. And so another thing I like to share is maybe Mendeley desktop, that if time permits I will show, otherwise I'll go into the paper writing. Mendeley desktop, you can learn it by yourself. Mendeley desktop is a very easy one. So you can learn it by yourself from tutorial in the website. Mendeley desktop, which is very, very easy to use, and nowadays a lot of researchers are using that Mendeley desktop. So let me go into how to write a research paper. Just a minute. Yeah. I'll share my PPT now. Yeah. So when I have been a reviewer for so many papers. So based on my reviewer experience, I like to share some information here. So mostly when you get a paper for review, so we'll check only the abstract and the conclusion. We'll decide whether the paper is good or not. So try to give a more concentration, especially for abstract. And that is very important, and try to rewrite the abstract and clearly mention what are the existing methods, why you want into the proposed method is there, what is observation out of it. So everything has to be clearly mentioned in the abstract itself. And the keywords, second one is the keywords. So people will not give importance to the keywords, because the keywords are the one which is makes your paper visible to other authors. So when you have papers, so when people search in Google Scholar or IEEE or in a Springer or any other portal, they search for the paper. So what happens is those websites not only find the papers based on the title of the paper, they use the keywords to get the relevant papers. So the keywords plays a major important role there in the searching functionality, because that provides you the more visibility for your paper. Try to add minimum 5 to 6 keywords, so that it makes your paper more visible. There should be generic keywords or some maybe specific keywords. And another thing is try to represent them a lot of information in using tables, flowcharts, or diagrams. because the reviewer will be both read the text, lot of text. So try to represent wherever you want. You can try to add what do you say? Yeah. So you can draw wherever possible. You draw using a tables, diagrams, and all those things. Because the reviewer will be bored to read the paper, a lot of text content. Let us say in the introduction part, you want to say there are two types of recommender systems, like content based and collaborative based. But in this case, you can use it like using a table or a diagram. You can represent the same information. It will be easy for the reviewer to go through the paper and easily understand the paper if we have more tables and diagrams. So try to use more flowcharts or diagrams or tables wherever possible to represent your information, research information. And another thing is data sets. So data sets plays a major role because if you submit a paper for a very good journal, so they check whether you have used very external data sets or not. So what happens is if you use, let us say you are working with a phase reduction algorithm. So you are using the students' images and you propose a new algorithm, you compare with the existing algorithm, and your algorithm is working fine. But what the data set you used is only the students' database, that is your students' faces and all those things you have used, and you have found the result is working good. But this work may not be accepted in the very good journals because they check the data set whether it is a what do you say, it's a benchmark data set or standard data set. So try to use benchmark data sets or any existing data sets for your research. That gives a better advantage instead of using your own data set. And in the literature review part, try to write the critics limitation of existing works and advantage of using your work and all those things to be clearly specified, and that will give it easy for the reviewer to understand your research work. Another thing is the references. So try to add recent references. Let us say you are in 2021, you added some references. Sorry. So you add some references from 2016. It is the most recent references. But in this case, what happens is you are in 2021 and your recent references 2016. Then the reviewer will say that you are not referred to recent papers. It means that your work is not recent or you are not compared to the recent works. So it maybe get rejected. So try to add 30%, 20 to 30% papers from recent 3 years at least, and also add references with DOI numbers. Also, you can mention the DOI numbers in the papers. After the references, you mention the DOI numbers also. That will give you an advantage because when you submit a paper to the online portal systems, so the system will automatically check whether the paper you have uploaded is recent or not. I mean, it has a DOI numbers or not. So some of the conference papers may not have DOI numbers, so that you cannot have more than 30% non-DOI references. So at least 70 to 80% should be DOI references. If possible, try to use only DOI references for your papers. That is initial level of screening, they'll check all those things. And when you're submitting a paper for a journal, try to cite the paper from the same journal. That is not issue if you there is nothing wrong in adding a paper from the same journal. Yeah. So another thing is they check for plagiarism. It should not be more than 50 to 20%. So try to reduce the plagiarism. So in this, you can use a drill bit. Nowadays, they are providing free 1 month access for a lot of institutions. Even 3 months access also they are providing. So Urkund is there, but instead of Urkund, I think Authenticate will give us a better results or Viper, and also you can use it nowadays. A drill bit also coming up. You can use that. And these are the additional hints like to share, which is based on Professor Dushyant Nalin K. So he came to our institute and he has given some talk or given to writing a paper. Based on his presentation, I have added some slides here. So the keywords, we call it as index words, signpost, or connectors. So this should be in alphabetical order. So if we have 5 keywords, the keywords should be in the alphabetical order in the below the abstract. And the title speaks a lot, so a little bit fancy title has to be given. If you give a generic title, it will not impress the reviewer, it may be rejected. Let us say you want to say that you do brain tumor classification using deep learning techniques. There is a very normal general title which is not looks good. So try to be give importance to the title of the paper. And also make notes, annotations whenever required using Mendeley desktop. You can take notes and annotations. So it will be easy to take a notes using Mendeley desktop. You can spend a maximum half an hour to 1 hour to learn that too. Using you can use it by yourself, and you can follow an author and all their publications. So try to follow a particular author and all their publications. That will give you a better research focus, and you will be able to identify the problem quickly. And grouping references. So what we do is in the literature review part, what happens is we write each and every paragraph for each and every reference we cite. So don't write one paragraph or some sentence for only one reference. Try to group the references. So like a lot of works on classification. So 3 to 6. So 3 to 6 references talks about classification. So like that you can group the references. This is a very professional way of writing the research papers. Nowadays, a lot of researchers are using grouping the references. You can group based on the similarities or based on the differences or some other factors. You can group the references. And when we write a paper, so maximum 50% of the paper should be given for introduction part. So conference paper you can give maximum 1 page, and for journal you can give 1.5 pages maximum. Okay, so if you write a 10 pages paper, you can have maximum 1.5 pages for introduction part. Don't write more than that for the introduction. And you can also ask your friends or supervisor to see your go through the paper and give the comments. So you can correct before submitting to your general conference. And also you can when we write a paper, so what happens is we write the same sentence in the abstract, in the body of the paper, in the proposed methodology, and also in the conclusion. We'll try to feel that same sentence getting repeated. Then use synonym words or rewrite the sentences, and so that you can avoid repeating the same sentences. And also submit a reputed journal, so that even if it is rejected, you will get a very good comments that will provide you to do further research. And mostly paper getting rejected nowadays is the mathematical model is not clearly mentioned in the proposed methodology. So you have to give you a what you say, the mathematical model has to be specified. So nowadays they are checking whether you have mathematical methodologies are provided or not. All those things nowadays they are checking very much. So try to collaborate with your maths faculty or anybody in your department, in your college, so that with the help of them you can write the proposed methodology in a some mathematical forms. And avoid plagiarism. So using synonym words, or you can swap the words or you replace the sentences. You can avoid the plagiarism. Like if you want to say A, B, C, D are 4 types of classes. So A, B, C, D are 4 types of classes. So in this case, you can write it like ACDD or ADBA, sorry, CDBA, like that. You can rewrite the sentence, rewrite the words so that you can avoid the plagiarism. So let us say is showing a plagiarism for A, B, C, D or 4 classes. You can write it like the 4 classes are A, B, C, D, or you can write B, D, C, A or 4 classes. So like this, you can read it the sentences or rephrase it and or swap the words to avoid the plagiarism. So these are the important points like to share on writing the tools for research and also the how to write a research paper. Thank you very much. Any queries? I'd like to answer it.
Thank you, sir. Dear participants, if you are having any queries, please post your queries in the chat box. Dear participants, post your queries in the chat box. Dr. Sir will clarify that.
I'm sharing the PPT here in the. I think I can't share it here. Files option. But otherwise, I'll send you the mail, the PPT, and you can share it with the participants.
Okay, sir. Sure, sir. Sir, no one has asked queries, sir.
Oh, okay, madam. Fine.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Shall I leave, madam?
Participants, I post a feedback link in the chat box. You all are requested to enter the feedback link. Now, this is the right time to propose vote of thanks. I would like to call upon Dr. N. Murali sir, Associate Professor, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good morning to one and all. I am very much honored to propose vote of thanks for this workshop on tool for research and how to write a paper. First of all, I would like to thank our management for giving the wonderful support to conduct this workshop. I would like to thank our principal and the CEO of our institution for providing excellent guidelines. Next, our sincere thanks to our distinguished chief guest and resource person, Dr. P. Surendran, Assistant Professor, CSE Department, National Institute of Technology, Puducherry, Karaikal, for spending this valuable time and he has provided wonderful guidelines for doing research and writing paper. Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to thank our department HOD, Dr. M. Chinadurai, for his wonderful support to the workshop on. I would like to thank to coordinators of the workshop. Of this, I would like to thank both internal and external of participants for this great cooperation. I would like to thank our department faculty member for their kind support. Thank you once again. Thank you one and all.
Sir, Surendran sir.
Yes, madam.
Sir, one madam asked that how literature survey paper to be returned for acceptance.
Madam, most of the journals nowadays are not accepting review papers because. But what you can do is they can search in Microsoft Academic and they can find which journals they are accepting for review papers, and based on that they can submit. Because most of the journals nowadays they are not accepting review papers. So they can identify which journals will accept, based on that they can submit that.
Okay, sir. Next, Dinesh Babu sir has asked how to reduce
So what is the difference between research gap and research problem?
Voice is not clear.
Sir, another one part research gap and research problems, sir.
Research gap is what is the existing researchers. There is some limitations may be there, or some future work they have mentioned. So those things called as research gaps. And what are the problem for research gaps? What are the solutions you are providing? That is a problem statement. So for which problems you are going to propose the you are doing the research. That is a problem statement. Existing problems in the papers, what are the limitations? So those things comes as a research gap.
Sir, one question asked by Dinesh Babu, sir. How to reduce plagiarism in manuscript?
But that's why I already mentioned, like you have to reread the sentences. So only by rereading the sentences you can reduce the plagiarism. So if you the same sentences getting repeated from the existing papers, that means that it shows more plagiarism. So you have to reread the sentences like ABCD of 4 classes. In this case, you can write it like the 4 classes are ADBC, like that. You can rewrite the sentences to avoid the plagiarism. Like that, you have to rewrite for each full paper. You have to rewrite to avoid the plagiarism, or which portions it shows plagiarism. For that, you have to rewrite the sentences to avoid the plagiarism.
Okay, sir. Next question was asked by Farzana Farveen, ma'am. Is Mendeley Desktop a open source software like that?
Desktop search model. Which one they are asking?
Mendeley.
Mendeley is free, open source. Anybody can use it. Mendeley, search everything. All those things are free to use.
One ma'am asked that Kalaivani ma'am, how to identify a genuine Scopus journal, because nowadays there are fake journals also.
But genuine Scopus journal means you have to check it in the Scopus website. So they provide you the list of Scopus journals, and also you can search it in the publance.com. So which is nowadays very authenticate website, where you can get the details. Or also you can search it in Google, ResearchGate, where people post about lot of Scopus journals which will accept quickly like that. ResearchGate has lot of question and answers which will be helpful for researchers. So they can use those platforms to identify the relevant journals.
Okay, sir. That's all, sir. Sir, many participants asked PPT, sir. You mail me. In future I'll mail them, sir.
Yeah, okay, madam. I'll send you the right now itself. You can send
Okay,
it
sir.
there.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. With this, we will wind up the session, sir. Thank you all. Thank you so much, sir, for your question clarification. Thank you, sir.
Okay, madam.
Yes. Thank you, participants.